There are literally hundreds of free-to-play game releases on every single year, but at the same time there are so many free-to-play games either dead, dying or completely shut down for many different reasons. So today I want to talk about 25 of these amazing free-to-play games that we got the chance to play over the years, and let me know down below if you had the chance to play some of these games back in the day. Alright, starting with a game called Warmode, a classic first-person shooter kind of mixed between a Call of Duty and Counter-Strike. Initial release back in 2019, it was a relatively popular game especially among low-end PC gamers. It has a very basic concept, simple graphics, fun game modes and variety of maps, but over the years it got pretty much forgotten. The last update the game received was way back in 2021, but you can still find the game on Steam, you can still download it, but unfortunately you won't be able to join any servers or play the game anymore. Back in 2020, the Battle Royale genre was a massive success with the launch of games like Fortnite and Apex Legends, and Ubisoft also tried to cash in with their own Battle Royale game called Hyperscape. Initial release was somewhat of a success, but the game kept losing player numbers rapidly. Despite several updates over the years, the Ubisoft really struggled to maintain the momentum, and unfortunately the project got shut down after a couple of years. Next up we got Battalion Legacy, a classic World War II first-person shooter. Initial release as an early access title back in 2018. Despite the $8 price tag, the game seen somewhat of a success, reaching about 16,000 daily concurrent players. But after that, the people keep losing interest, and the devs finally decided to release the final update to the game and made the game completely free to play back in 2022. But despite all of these efforts, the game didn't really see any success as a free to play title, but you can still download the game through Steam if you want to check it out, but the game is pretty much dead right now. The story with our next game is a bit of a weird one, and that is Royale. It's a pretty fun and innovative battle royale game where you fight inside a furniture store, and the game released as an early access title. It was completely free to play. But after the game fully launched on Steam, the developers decided to put a price tag on the game. It is just a very small $3 price tag, but when you put a price tag on a free to play game, you know exactly what is going to happen next. I don't think it's benefit the developers or the community behind the game. Unfortunately, now the game is pretty much dead and nobody's playing. Project Argo was a very interesting take on the tactical shooter genre by Bohemia Interactive, and I'm sure some of you guys never even heard about this game until now. It was a completely free-to-play standalone project inspired from the game Arma 3, but unfortunately the game had a very limited support during its lifespan, and the game was completely shut down back in 2021, and you won't be able to find the game on Steam unless you have the game on your Steam library, but the game is pretty much unplayable right now. The Cycle Frontier came into the market where there wasn't any free-to-play alternative for any extraction shooters, and the initial release was pretty much a success. But just like any other free-to-play game, it struggled to maintain a consistent player base over the time, and the developer Jaeger ultimately decided to shut down the project because the game wasn't financially viable to keep up anymore. But I have to say, man, the Cycle Frontier was a really fun game, and I thoroughly enjoyed my playtime with it, but unfortunately this is the sad reality of most of the free-to-play game nowadays. Super People had a very interesting take on the Battle Royale genre, competing with the likes of PUBG and Apex Legends, and the initial early access release for the game was a massive success. A lot of the players and the content creators who played PUBG jumped into the hype train and start playing Super People, but despite the initial success and the dedicated community behind the game struggled to differentiate itself from the highly competitive Battle Royale market, and ultimately they have to shut down the project due to many challenges in sustaining stable player numbers and also meeting financial goals. Right now you won't be able to find the game even on Steam. Blacklight Retribution was one of the first few online multiplayer games that I've played way back in 2012, and it was actually one of the first few free-to-play games available at the time. And 7 years after launch, the devs finally decided to shut down the project and shift their focus onto other projects, and they were unable to keep up the servers, bug fixes or deliver new content to the game. As of right now, the PC version of this game is completely shut down, but the console version of this game is still well and alive and still available to download and play. Darwin Project was one of the most coolest looking battle royale games that I've played over the years, but unfortunately it haven't seen a lot of success after its full release back in 2020. Despite having a very nice and simple gameplay loop with a beautiful art style, the active number of players have been sharply declined over the years, and right now these days only having like 3 or 4 average players every single day. And the game is technically still playable on Steam, you can still download it, but the matchmaking is going to be very difficult due to lack of player count. Have any of you guys remember the game called Heroes and Generals? Despite the initial success as a free-to-play World War II shooter, Heroes and Generals officially got shut down back in May 2023, and the game had been struggling with this profitability for a very long time. time. Even they tried to revive a sequel with a crowdfunding project, but it was unsuccessful and the game was ultimately shut down, mainly due to its outdated technology and the lack of financial viability. Awesome game, I had a lot of memories with it. Sadly, the game is no longer playable. After decades of development, the fan favorite long-running survival game Survarium very recently got shut down back in 2022. The game was a free-to-play MMO style of a first-person shooter set in the post-apocalyptic world, and throughout its life cycle, the game faced several issues and challenges. Although it attracted dedicated player base, especially from countries like CIS and Europe, the game struggling to maintain consistent player count and a revenue, and they ultimately decided to shut down the servers. Another pretty popular title that had to face a similar fate recently is the Battle Royale title called Ring of Elysium. This game came out way back in 2018 when PUBG was having a massive success in the Battle Royale genre, and of course being a fully free-to-play title attract a lot of the player base who really can't afford PUBG at the time. But overall the game player base dwindled over the years, likely due to its steep competition in the saturated Battle Royale market, and it kept losing its player count after the initial success at launch, and right now the game is completely shut down and you no longer be able to play. The official shutting down announcement for the game Warhaven really came as a surprise for me, but the game wasn't even 6 months old at the time it being shut down. It was a free-to-play fantasy PvP warfare style of a game with extreme melee combat and magical elements, and I thought the concept was very unique and interesting, but honestly the game didn't really click with the player base, and players often pointed out the issues with balancing and the server performance, and ultimately due to all of these factors and lack of interest about the game, Nexon finally decided to shut down the game back in April this year, and you'll no longer be able to find the game on Steam. And same thing happened to another popular game from Nexon, and that is Veiled Expert. It has a very interesting concept and a unique take on the third-person 5v5 tactical genre, initially released as an early access title back in May 2023. Despite having somewhat of a positive reviews and maintaining a modest player base at launch, the developer Nexon decided to shut down the project, and also acknowledging that it did not meet their expectation and it's time for start something new, but we haven't really heard from them since then. Hopefully something bigger coming up pretty soon. Alright, before moving on to our last game, I want to quickly mention 10 underrated smaller projects that got shut down over the years, and let me know down in the comment section if you ever got the chance to play any of these games back in the day. First one is the Island of Nine, a pretty cool sci-fi battle royale game released back in 2018. Code 2040, another take on the battle royale genre set in the post-apocalyptic future. Crows, a free-to-play third-person tactical shooter with an interesting battle royale mode and a large-scale all-out warfare. Valgrave Immortal Plains, a very simple-looking battle royale game where you play as wizards. Synced, a free-to-play futuristic co-op shooter kinda similar to games like Destiny 2. Knockout City, a 3v3 free-to-play sports game where you fight in epic dodgeball battles. 9 to 5, a free-to-play team-based multiplayer FPS with a very unique concept being a 3 versus 3 versus 3. Scavengers, a free-to-play PvE survival game with a looter shooter and a battle royale element. Radical Heights, another very unique take on the battle royale genre with a 90s style classic retro vibe. And finally the Pandemic Express, a very unique co-op zombie survival game with a pretty cool art style. And if you ever got the chance to play any of these free-to-play games, I would love to know your thoughts down in the comment section. Alright, moving on to our final game, probably the biggest free-to-play game that shut down over the years, and that is PUBG Lite. PUBG Lite was the whole reason why I started this channel in the first place. It was a massive success at launch, especially being a completely free-to-play alternative to PUBG. With the official supports and the servers and the continuous update that we get, the game rise to its popularity, especially in the regions where a lot of people can't really afford PUBG. And on top of all that, the game literally can run on any type of potato PC with absolutely no issues, makes this game even more popular among low-end PC gamers. But they ultimately shut down the project back in 2021. Despite all the effort to revive the project back again, it definitely lay out the groundwork for them to release PUBG as a free-to-play title, but unfortunately we haven't really seen anything from PUBG Lite again. We all had so much fun playing the game and made a lot of memories, a lot of friends along the way, and if you're someone who got to play the game back in the day, I would love to know your thoughts about PUBG Lite. Yes, definitely share some of your unforgettable memories down in the comment section. Well, there you have it guys, these are some of the most amazing projects that we got the chance to play back in the day, and unfortunately we no longer be able to play most of these games in 2024. As always guys, if you enjoyed the content, don't forget to go ahead and drop a like, subscribe, and stay tuned to the channel. I'll catch you guys soon in the next one. Stay safe.